Hello, friends. I'm Nick Adam of the Monster Report, a show here on YouTube. Beginning in April of 2018, my good friend Michael Young began his YouTube career right here on this channel, ZillaFan85, with content produced about our favorite king of the monsters, Godzilla. Join us for his 200th episode right here and right now. Take it away, Michael.
Greetings and salutations, YouTubers. This is ZillaFan85, and I, of course, represent YouTube's bargain basement of the airwaves, and I am back today with my latest video. It's going to be, of course, a figure review, and yes, this is my 200th episode here. I would first very much like to thank my very good friend Nick from the Monster Report for that awesome introduction. Again, like I said, I really appreciate it. He also helped me out here. He made the thumbnail that you'll be seeing for this video as well. Of course, I'll definitely make sure he gets mileage out of that picture that he made, that image, because that was just awesome. Thank you so much again. I really do appreciate it. He's been like I said, a very good friend, in the community, outside the community, etc. And I appreciate everything he does. He does great content on his channel, folks. So any of you who are interested, please feel free to check his channel out, The Monster Report. Really awesome stuff. And we even, we've done some streams, and we even have a new stream planned for hopefully next weekend at the time of this recording, going over, our nostalgia and all our, sentiments and whatnot for retro video games, which of course, if you guys have seen lately on my channel, I've done a few new let's plays of retro games. So, so really exciting stuff there. Again, this being my 200th episode, just kind of doing a little bit of reflecting before we get started here. Definitely want to give some other shout outs as well. Of course, I would say my two biggest inspirations once I started making videos on YouTube back in 2018, as Nick mentioned. So we're coming up on 7 years here. Again, at the time of this recording that I started actually making content. Again, it's been mainly Godzilla and kaiju figure related, but I have done a few other things as well in between, but that's sort of my mainstay. That's my big fandom, etc, of course. But again, I want to give some shout outs. My biggest overall inspiration, especially because it dates all the way back to, I would say, the first ever YouTube video I ever checked out. I think it was around 2005 or so, when I actually went on the platform and saw a gentleman. Of course, he needs no introduction. That, of course, is James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd. Saw his his review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES, which I am a huge fan of. It's in my top 10 favorite video games of all time. But just loved his video on it and became a big fan of his afterwards, and still am to this day, though I do will say I prefer his retro content, but from back in the day. Nonetheless, though, like I said, a huge inspiration for me when it comes to YouTube. My other big inspiration, which really got me into deciding to do Godzilla and kaiju figure related reviews as my mainstay, and that, of course, is my good friend Everett, aka Godzilla Fan Freaks. He's got an awesome channel, does great content as well, so please feel free to check him out too. And then just some other people of note that I of course just mentioned here. Chris, aka Goji Fan 93. Always enjoyed watching his videos. Then you got the videos of, I guess you would say, yesteryear, like Ultraman Chronos, Goji 73, things like channels like that. And, others that I've watched over the years: Steven's Toy Reviews, Diego Doom, Ultrazilla, Shin Rob Jira. The list just kind of goes on and on. Also want to thank a couple of my mainstays on the channel who've kind of stuck with me for years, through thick and thin, as it were. Got my buddy over in the UK, Dragonzilla. I appreciate you sticking with me. And then, of course, in the more recent years, I've had King Goji, agree. He does, I noticed he's done a lot of content on his channel as well. He does good stuff. So, just kind of rolling through. Obviously, there's a lot of other channels I could mention, but we gotta we gotta get this review going here, folks. But anyways, so just kind of wanted to denote that this being my 200th episode, I didn't really do much for my 100th, so I figured this time let's go bigger and better here if we can. But let's go ahead and carry on with the good work. So without further ado, this is going to be my review of a long overdue one, by the way, of my Sci-Fi Revoltech Gigan figure.
Well, let's see what it can do against the Gigan.
Alrighty, so jumping on into the figure review itself here, we'll go ahead and, Gigan, obviously a kaiju that I really, really love, definitely in my top 10 favorite kaiju of all time here. Revoltech, they unfortunately, the company no longer produces, Godzilla, or they never produced a Godzilla figure, but they don't produce any more of the Toho kaiju or any of that, unfortunately. So this is an older piece. I believe in 2011 is when this was released. But still a really, really awesome figure nonetheless, one I was very excited that I added to the collection. But going ahead, jumping into it, and this, of course, is based off of the original design of Gigan from 1972's film Godzilla vs. Gigan. So, that in mind, let's go ahead and jump into it with the paint and the detail. Looking at his sort of paint scheme here, so you notice the greens for the sort of main parts of his body, this done in this sort of darker foresty green, if you will. But you guys can see so that there is like a bit of black wash done throughout here. Let's go ahead and bring it in for his face. And you guys can see now, of course, you got the foresty green around the outer parts of his face there. But then you can see as we move in closer and look, hopefully the camera's picking it up decently for you guys. Now you got that nice, like, translucent red for the eye, for that visor eye, if you will. Really seems to pop well. I do not believe it glows in the dark or any of that, but it does look really good. That translucent red, really, really cool. Like I said, really pops. You got the little dot above his head. I think that should be red, but nonetheless, though, at least you got it there. It might have just been dulled out over time, the color scheme on it, because it looks a little bit more silver. So, but still, you got the attention to detail done for that. Now you've got of course, the silver spike on the top of his forehead here, done curved at the very point, and it's a fairly hard plastic, so it's pretty sharp to the touch. Then it goes in, sort of blends in with that black wash and goes more into the foresty green, so it all kind of blends in. Again, hopefully the camera's picking it up, and you got some nice little detail work at the base of that spike where it joins into the forehead here, as you guys can see. So it's nice and textured very well. Looks really, really good. I like it anyways. And you got even some sort of like wrinkles and almost cracks on the sides of the face there. So you can see that that's prevalent on both sides. Really, really nice. You've got, of course, the silver done for that beak jaw that he's got. Again, nice curved and sharp to the touch there. The silver done for the, I guess you would call these mandibles on the sides of the beak here. Again, looks really, really good. And taking a look at the inside of the mouth, you got like a gummy pink, I guess you would call it. You got for the roof of the mouth and for the tongue, and you got detail work captured for both. Again, doing the best I can for you guys, but I'm far from perfect. That's why I'm the bargain basement, but doing what I can. Got some nice silvery for the teeth there. They're sculpted very, very well, and even got that little spike, that silver spike in the roof, on the roof of the mouth as well. Hopefully you guys can depict that I'm trying the best I can to showcase for you guys. So very, very cool. And then moving down, so again, more of the foresty green on the outer part of the neck here with some nice wrinkles, line segments done. And then, of course, you got that signature gold with the scales on the front part of the neck, which, of course, runs down the chest and the abdomen area, and of course down through the tail as well, which we'll get to in a moment. But nicely done, like that sort of King Ghidorah type scale texture that he's got for that. And again, you can notice a little bit of black wash just to make it pop all the much more, which I really appreciate. You got that buzzsaw chest that he's got running from the top of the chest all the way down to the bottom of the abdomen. Again, curved and sharp to the touch, and that nice silvery paint color. Really like it. And of course, carrying on with the silver, we've got the hooked claws that he's got. Very signature of Gigan's design. Got that nice curvature at the end. Again, nice and sharp to the touch there, so just be mindful of that. But really looks good, nice and clean. And again, a bit of the black wash as it sort of goes into the arm with the foresty green blended in as well. And then you got the foresty green done for the arms themselves. Here, very well. Nice wrinkles, grooves and lines there. Capture all that detail work for the arms. Again, the texturing at the base of the claws where it joins into the arms as well. So again, just hopefully you guys are able to depict all of that. Really cool. You got that foresty green patterning that runs into the gold scales here. Very signature of Gigan's design. See that on both sides. Very cool. Going down here and down into the legs. Again, you got the foresty green with some black wash done throughout. And nice wrinkles, lines, grooves, capturing quite a bit of detail. I mean, when you really take a close look at this guy, you can see the detail work is there. I mean, it may not be quite on par with the Monster Arts version of this figure, which I do have, by the way, the Monster Arts 1972 Gigan. I will review that one in the future, but taking a look at this guy right now, certainly was extremely happy to have this guy. And then you got those sort of signature kneecaps here that Gigan has. See the detail work for that. Again, more of the texturing and detail. The bottom part of the legs as you go into those those sharp long talon for each foot there. That one sort of long, large talon that he's got for each foot here, as you guys can see. Again, that silver color, nice and sharp there. A little bit of paint wear on mine, but again, it's an older figure, so it is what it is. But looks really good nonetheless. And again, the silver blends into the black wash and into the forest green. Some nice detail work done as it joins the bottom of the foot that has the green part in it. So after you get that claw, really cool looking, folks. So, I mean, you can see Gigan looks like he means business. And then, of course, you got the other spikes that run on the back of the head here, down the neck. The silver spikes there. And again, they blend in well with the black wash and forest green. And then, of course, we got to mention Gigan's sail, which, again, detailed very well. So you got sort of the more goldish color at the base of the sail for each of them. You got the 3 sails on his back there, and then the smaller line segments of the gold that run through the sails. So hopefully you guys can see all of that. And then you got like a lighter gold, almost like a yellowish gold, done for the sort of main parts of the sail here. And it meshes very well with the deeper gold color, I think. Really, really looks good. Nice membrane detail work. It really, really looks nice. They definitely did not skimp on it. The tail is done in, or the sail is done in more of a softer type plastic, so it's a little bit more malleable here. These spikes on the tips of the sail are still fairly sharp to the touch, but again, they are softer, so should hopefully at least minimize the risk of them breaking or anything like that. But very, very cool nonetheless. And the tips, of course, done. You got a little bit of like a black wash mixed in with that lighter gold, I would say. So you guys can see all of that, hopefully. But really, really awesome. Gotta love Gigan sails. And then, of course, you got more of those silver spikes that run down the tail. Again, blend into the gold, which actually does go, and you can see the gold scales as well that go in between the sails and run down the top part of the tail. Let's see if you guys can hopefully see that. So they did not skip on the detail at all. You got all the gold scales that go down. Of course, you got that nice sharp silver spike tip at the end of the tail there. And it is sharp to the touch. Again, blended in with the black wash to the gold color there. And again, you got the patterning done. So you got some of the forest green on the bottom part of the tail with a bit of the gold scaling that goes to that sort of point there as it ends off. And then you got the foresty green there, and you got all the nice lines and segments and whatnot that run along the bottom of the tail. And again, some more of that black wash done throughout. So really, really awesome. There's a lot to cover here because, again, he's got a lot of detail work on him. Now, that's one thing Revoltech is certainly known for, folks. But nonetheless, though, let's go ahead and move on. That pretty much does cover it for the paint and the detail. So as far as articulation goes, again, these Revoltech figures were sort of the precursor, as many people have said, to SH Monster Arts, because they are super articulated figures. They use mostly what they call their Revoltech joints, which are sort of these ratcheted type joints for their movement. But you guys will see here. We'll start here. The top or the bottom of the head as it joins into the top part of the neck there. It's on that Revoltech joint. You can look up. You hear the clickety clack of it as it moves. And of course, you can turn it side to side. You can rotate it all the way around if you wish. You'll be able to do that with these joints. But very, very cool nonetheless. And of course, you got the jaw, which is on as well, I believe, a Revoltech joint. You can actually see it in there if you look closely enough. All the way at the back of the mouth, you'll see the Revoltech joint painted in that peach gum color. So you can open and close the jaw like so. The mandibles, I believe, are actually on hinges. So you can open them up, get a nice wide stance with the mandibles. And you can close them as such and, display it as you want. So you got lots of display options. The base of the neck where it joins into the shoulders is also on a Revoltech joint. Again, you can hear the clickety clack as you can look up and look down like that. Of course, you can turn side to side. If you really want to push it, you can get it to go all the way around. Another thing too, some people note, I'm not going to showcase here, but you can actually pop the joints out and turn them into a different direction so that you can get a range of movement in another direction as well. So just something to note, but very, very cool nonetheless. And then you got the arms where they join into the shoulders, also on a Revoltech joint. Again, you can see it where it joins in there. So you can go out like so. Get to a bit of a nice T-pose there. You can come in like so. You can raise the arm up, and of course you can go all the way around with each arm as well. So, and it'll come all the way back. And just got to rotate it into the right place that you want it, like so. and you can get further range of motion like that. Like I said, there's nothing at the chest or the abdomen here, but you do have further articulation in the arm itself. So you actually have two different it's double jointed, two Revoltech joints where the elbow is. So the top part of the bicep there, and then of course just below the elbow. So just to give further range of motion, it popped out of place, but you guys can see the Revoltech joint. You got the slot, it just pops back in, but just to give you a nice range of motion so you can move the hooks up and down as you move the elbow joints as well. Again, just to further that range of motion. It's a little bit awkward to move it, but you can get a nice range as you guys can see there. And of course it'll rotate as well. So just because of the design of those joints. So very, very cool nonetheless. So gives you that sort of swivel hinge combo there. Then next you go down to the legs where they join into the hips here. And again, on Revoltech joints, you can spread the legs out like that. You can come in like that. Again, you hear the clickety clack of the Revoltech joints. You can raise them up. You can get it to go all the way around, of course, if you wish. Again, kicking up and going all the way around. Those joints allow for that. So again, very, very cool. They will rotate as well. You guys can see that. Of course, you got the knees again on the Revoltech joint there. Back part of the knee, you can see it. So you can hinge inward on both legs there, hinge out like so. Of course, again, it'll rotate, as you guys can see. And then finally got Revoltech joints here at the feet where they join into the ankles. So you can hinge up, down like so. And you can use it to get an ever so slight ankle rocker like that. Ever so slightly, and of course it will rotate as well. So you guys can see that there. And then you've got a Revoltech joint where the base of the tail joins into the main part of the body there. So you guys can push it down. So if you wanted to get him in a, pseudo flying pose, you can certainly do that with that joint, but it'll hinge downward, it'll hinge upward, and of course you can go side to side and you can rotate it, and it'll rotate all the way around as well. So again, similar to like a ball joint in that respect, but the ratcheted though keeps it from being completely natural moving, so it kind of clicks into place as it moves along on the joints. So you guys can kind of see that there. There is a bendy wire that runs along the tail. I'm not going to mess with that. I don't like to mess with the bendy wires because they run the risk of breaking and can even end up puncturing through the plastic. This is a soft plastic on the tail here, so if it punctures through, kind of unfortunately messes up the figure. So like I said, I don't like to mess with the bendy wires, but nonetheless though, like I said, you get quite a bit of articulation. There's nothing at the sails, but again, they are softer plastic, so you can sort of bend them out and if you want just to do some different things with them. But yep, very, very awesome nonetheless though, folks. I know that was a lot to cover, but trying to do my due diligence here for you guys. So other than that, now we'll look at, because again, these Revoltech figures do come with a decent amount of accessories. So we're going to go ahead and look at the accessories that this guy comes with. First couple pieces I wanted to just quickly look at are these little pamphlets. These all do come in these boxes. If you guys have ever seen, they're like these really nice boxes, got like a nice money shot of the figure itself, and then a little bit of like movie image. It opens up like a flap, almost like a NECA box would, but it's a little more like a square shape. And you got movie images and write up in Japanese on the inside of them. I used to have them all, but just because of space reasons and all that, I wasn't able to keep the boxes, so I did have to forego those. But nonetheless, still obviously have all the accessories. So you got these pamphlets that came in the boxes. Of course, does kind of denote other figures that have been or will be releasing. So this shows 2010. So I wonder if Gigan actually might have come out in 2010. But nonetheless, so you guys can see there. Not going to go over all this too much, but again, you guys can see like what you're working with here with Revoltech. They have a very extensive line, as you guys can see, and of course has grown over the years as well. Of all kinds of different stuff that they do, even though they don't do Toho kaiju anymore. They have all kinds of other stuff. You know, even got like Alien here and all that. Very, very cool. There's some really, really cool stuff. Batman. There's, of course, from their kaiju line, Gamera and Daimajin. Very, very awesome stuff. Got Jack Skellington there as well. Awesome. Anyway, so that's it for those pamphlets. I'll go ahead and set those in the back here. I guess we'll keep out the accessories now. Next up, we got this little translucent orange box that comes with all these figures. I guess any like smaller accessories or whatnot you can always store in here. And you also get these, they call them the Revoltech coins. You got the number 10 on there. I guess it's... I don't know, a lot of people don't seem to know what these are for. I think these might be to use as like points towards getting new figures or something in the future, I think. So you might get them at a discount, but I'm not 100% on that. So anyways, I'll go ahead and set those guys back there. Next up, we'll go ahead and take a look at this little nameplate that you get with him. Again, signature of Revoltech here. I believe that Japanese lettering says Gigan there. And then below that, I know the Japanese rendition of Godzilla vs. Gigan from 1972. I think it's like Earth Defense Directive or something like that. Godzilla vs. Gigan, something like that. But you guys can see, I'll try to make sure that the camera picks it up for you. So, very, very cool. That there. And certainly last but definitely not least, you get these 3 buildings that actually come with the figure. So very, very cool, folks. You get this piece, which we'll get to in a moment, but you get the these 2 sort of spires here. I think this is supposed to be like an industrial factory kind of setup that you can display this as. It's got these 2 spires here. Again, some pieces, and these are all done in like a silver paint scheme, as you guys can see, but really, really nice detail work. You guys can see all that there on captured for the spires themselves and bases. All these extra pieces that are sculpted in on the base as well. So again, just hopefully that picks it up here. You got this sort of oil drum looking building here. Again, looks really, really nice. Again, you got that all the detail work for all the pieces on the bottom sculpted in on that base too. That looks really, really good. And then, of course, you got the taller spire here, which looks really, really good as well. Sort of interconnected with these 3 with these 3 towers here, and the main tower at the top there. Very, very cool. And again, more of the detail for the bottom sculpted on there as well. That's really, really cool. But wait, there's more. There's actually a little gimmicky feature with this. So you can pop this piece off like so. And see if I could do this on camera here. You can pop this piece on. And now you've got the spire being somewhat demolished here, which Gigan can be used to showcase attacking. So very, very cool. Give you guys a little bit of a closer look at that. Very, very awesome. So you guys can have different options for how you want to display this. So really, really cool. I definitely appreciate all that attention to detail work. Really, really awesome. So anyways, I'll go ahead and pop that off and put that to the side and just put the main spire back on here, like so. And again, just a really, really cool setup, as you guys can see. So anyways, I'll go ahead and just put these to the side for the moment, because next up we're going to go ahead and look at sizing. And first grab out my handy dandy ruler, just so you guys can see. Now these Revoltech figures were made not to scale in with like Bandai's, and again these were released before SH Monster Arts was a thing, so they're just kind of made to scale in with themselves. They are on the smaller side, as you guys can see. So if we take a look at Gigan here. Let's see, just trying to position him like a nice straight on pose. If I can get it right. Yeah, it's probably about right anyways. But as you guys can see, I'll bring the camera in a little bit closer to where about the top of that spike is on the top of his head. You're looking at around 5 inches in height, and that's kind of a mainstay for these figures. They're in that roughly 5-inch range. So again, they're too small to size in really with your 6 to 7 inch figures, because they're mainly made to go with each other. There are a couple exceptions, ones that actually for their size range look okay though, look decent with like the Bandai figures and Monster Arts and whatnot. And that of course is those of course are Anguirus and Baragon, which I also have and have previously reviewed on my channel. So but they do actually look decent with the larger figures, the 6 to 7 inch figures. But Gigan here, he would be too short. But I'll just showcase for you guys, just as a size comparison, I have my SH Monster Arts 1954 Godzilla, and you guys can see here. So just to showcase for you, you guys can clearly see a pretty sizable height difference. And this is not even the biggest Monster Art figure you'll find. He's, I think, barely exceeds 6 inches in height. So, but you can still see the sizable difference there. So again, these aren't really meant to go with these, but you know, just kind of is what it is. So just got to keep that in mind. But nonetheless, though, still really, really cool. Go ahead and move him off here. And just kind of set up the display a little bit for you guys. Let's put that like that. And just like so. So, anyways. So, as you guys can see, though, that's what it's like. Now, as far as pricing goes, I should say. So again, you got to unfortunately look in the aftermarket. These figures have been long since discontinued. Like I said, I believe 2011 is when they stopped making these. So your best bet is going to be eBay or, you know, places like that. And again, it's in the aftermarket. Keep in mind the MSRP of these figures when they released, I think, were a little bit less than $50. So that's really kind of what they're at, you know, at the time of their release. Nowadays, though, I've seen like Gigan's a little more on the rare side than some of the others. So I've seen him going for usually around $100 to $150 US dollars. You know, so that you just got to keep that in mind. I've even seen it higher as well. I definitely wouldn't recommend picking it up for higher than that, and even 100 to 150 is kind of pricey for this guy. But you know, again, it's in the aftermarket, so you just have to keep that in mind. Bear that in mind. And if you're willing to pay to play, again, though, this is an awesome piece just to have to the collection. You know, again, cool accessories. Really captures the look and detail well. and nice articulation and whatnot. So really, really awesome figure. But I think that pretty much wraps it up for this one, though, folks. I know, again, this was a longer video than usual, but again, being my 200th episode, and again, I appreciate you, Nick, from the Monster Report, for helping me out with this, making the intro and the thumbnail and, a little snippet and whatnot. So again, thank you so much. Again, he's an awesome, awesome guy, awesome content creator, so please feel free to check out his channel, The Monster Report, and really does a lot of great stuff on there. And also, like I said, at the time of this recording, we are planning to do that live stream next weekend for our love of retro video games. So if you guys are interested in that, please feel free to check that out. That will be planned at this point, planned for April 5th, excuse me, not April 5th. I'm sorry. Excuse me, looking at the wrong date. It will be planned for March 29th, of this year, like I said. So next weekend at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So barring no hiccups or anything like that, that's what the plan is. So again, feel free to tune in if you guys are interested. But other than that, though, I do want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, please feel free to do so. If you would like to like and or comment on any of my videos, please feel free to do so as well. And just remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you be good to yourselves, and sayonara.